The scream hit the 911 operator before the words did. It's right there, it's right there. Don't turn around, don't. Branches cracked like gunshots, close, too close. The caller's breathing turned ragged, wet with panic, as if the air itself had thickened. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. What's your location? The operator said, voice steady in a way that only made the fear on the other end sound worse. We're in the trees. We didn't go far. Oh, God. The voice broke, then dropped into a whisper. It's mimicking him. A second voice bled into the call. Male, distant, wrong, somehow. Help me. The caller gasped. That's not him. That's not him. Footsteps thundered. The phone scraped against something hard, then static swallowed everything. The line went dead. They traced the call to a patch of forest in East Texas, miles from the nearest road, a place with no official name on most maps. The kind of place locals only referred to with a glance and a lowered voice if they spoke about it at all. They never found the caller. Officially, nothing unusual had happened. The report listed it as a lost hiker incident, probable animal encounter. The forest was large, the terrain uneven. People got turned around. People panicked. People made mistakes. That was the explanation. It just didn't explain the pattern. Years before the call, a man named Daniel Hargrove had parked his truck at the edge of the same forest. He told his brother he was going in for a few hours, just to clear his head. I'll be back before dark, he had said, tossing a small pack over his shoulder. You always say that, his brother laughed. Don't get lost chasing deer again. Daniel grinned. I don't get lost. I take detours. That was the last time anyone saw him. His truck was found 2 days later, exactly where he left it. The keys were still in the ignition. His phone sat on the passenger seat, battery dead. Search teams combed the area for a week. No footprints leading out. No signs of a struggle. No body. Just absence. A year later, 3 teenagers decided the stories were overblown. They had grown up hearing whispers about the forest, about strange sounds, about people who went in and never came back, but none of it sounded real. Bro, it's just trees, one of them said, laughing as they stepped past the old warning sign. It's paint peeling. Exactly, another replied, pulling out his phone. We're about to prove everyone's just scared for no reason. They could document everything. The video they posted showed them joking, pushing each other, kicking at roots as they went deeper. At first, it was nothing. Then the sound started. Yo, did you hear that? One of them said, stopping mid-step. Hear what? Another asked. Like a knock. On wood. They laughed it off. Minutes later, it came again. Knock. 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 Not random. Not like branches hitting each other. Rhythmic. Intentional. Okay, that's weird, the one with the camera admitted, his voice losing some of its edge. Probably someone else out here, the third said quickly. Messing with us. Then why aren't they answering? Silence stretched around them, thick and unnatural. Even the insects seemed to have gone quiet. Let's just go a bit further, the cameraman said, forcing a grin. We didn't come all this way to turn back. That was the last video they uploaded. Their phones were recovered weeks later, deep in the forest, scattered as if dropped mid-run. The footage ended abruptly, shaky, blurred, filled with heavy breathing and the sound of something large moving just out of sight. No bodies were ever found. After that, the forest developed a reputation no official statement could erase. Locals stopped going near it, especially after sunset. If you hear knocking, you leave, an old man in a nearby gas station once said when someone asked about it. His hands shook slightly as he poured coffee into a chipped mug. Don't answer it. Don't follow it. And if you hear your name, he paused, eyes darkening. You run. Most people laughed it off, until a small documentary crew decided to prove there was nothing to be afraid of. Marcus led the group, a confident man in his early 30s who had built a following debunking paranormal myths. With him were Lena, the camerawoman, Tyler, a skeptical sound engineer, and Aaron, a local guide who had agreed, reluctantly, to take them to the edge of the forest. This is it, Aaron said, stopping just short of the tree line. He didn't step any closer. Marcus glanced at him. You're not coming in? Aaron shook his head immediately. I told you I'd bring you here. I didn't say I'd go inside. Tyler smirked. Seriously? You believe all that stuff? Aaron didn't smile. I don't need to believe it. Lena adjusted her camera, zooming in on the forest. Even in daylight, it looked wrong. The trees were too dense, their branches tangled like something trying to keep people out or in. Marcus clapped his hands once. All right, this is perfect. We go in, we film, we show there's nothing here but overactive imaginations. Aaron grabbed his arm before he could take a step. If you hear something calling you, he said quietly, don't answer. Marcus hesitated, then pulled away with a dismissive chuckle. We'll be fine. They stepped into the forest. At first, it felt like any other stretch of wilderness. The air was humid, the ground soft beneath their boots. Sunlight filtered through the canopy in thin, uneven beams. See? Tyler said, swinging his microphone around. Nothing. Give it time, Lena replied, though her voice held a note of unease. They walked for nearly an hour, documenting everything. Marcus spoke confidently into the camera, explaining how fear could make ordinary sounds seem threatening. Your brain fills in the gaps, he said. You hear a branch snap, and suddenly it's something chasing you. A sharp crack echoed behind them. They all froze. Tyler turned slowly. That was just a branch, he said quickly, though his grip on the microphone tightened. Yeah, Marcus agreed. Probably an animal. Then where is it? Lena asked. No one answered. They continued, a little faster now. That was when they found the first footprint. It was pressed deep into the mud, larger than any boot. Wider. The edges were uneven, as if whatever made it hadn't been wearing anything at all. Tyler crouched beside it, frowning. Okay, that's not normal. Marcus forced a laugh. Could be a trick. Someone messing with people. Out here? Lena asked. For years. Another footprint appeared a few feet ahead. Then another. They led deeper into the forest. Maybe we shouldn't follow those, Tyler said quietly. Marcus hesitated just for a second. Then he straightened. We came here for answers. Let's get them. As they moved forward, the forest seemed to change. The light dimmed, though the sun hadn't shifted much. The air grew heavier, harder to breathe. Then the knocking started. Knock, knock, knock. The sound echoed through the trees, distant but clear. Tyler's head snapped up. You heard that, right? Marcus nodded slowly. Yeah. Tell me that's just branches, Lena said. No one tried. Knock. Closer this time. Aaron's warning flickered through Marcus's mind, uninvited. If you hear knocking, you leave. He swallowed. We should head back. Just for now. They turned. The path behind them was gone. Not hidden. Not obscured. Gone. What the hell? Tyler muttered, spinning in place. We came straight this way. We couldn't have gotten that far, Lena said, her voice rising. Knock. Even closer now. Marcus forced himself to stay calm. Okay, we just retrace our steps. But there are no steps, Tyler snapped. The forest seemed to press in around them, the trees leaning closer, their branches creaking softly. Then from somewhere to their left, a voice drifted through the air. Marcus! He froze. Lena's eyes widened. Did you hear that? Tyler shook his head quickly. No, I didn't. Marcus, the voice called again, clearer this time. It sounded like Aaron, but Aaron was outside the forest. Marcus's chest tightened. That's not him, Lena whispered. The voice came again, closer, almost right behind them. Marcus, help. Tyler backed away, shaking his head. We need to go. Now. Marcus didn't move. Something in the trees shifted just out of sight. And for the first time since they entered the forest, he realized they weren't alone. And whatever was out there knew their names. Marcus didn't realize he was holding his breath until his chest started to burn. Marcus, help. The voice drifted again, closer now, sliding between the trees like it belonged there, like it had always been there. Lena grabbed his arm, her fingers digging in hard. Don't answer it. I'm not, he said quickly, but his voice came out thinner than he expected. Tyler stepped back, scanning the trees, his microphone shaking in his hand. That's not possible. Aaron's outside. We all saw him stay back. Then what is that? Lena whispered. No one had an answer. The forest had gone silent again, the kind of silence that felt wrong, like something had sucked the life out of the air. Even their footsteps seemed too loud as they shifted uneasily in place. Okay, Marcus said, forcing control into his voice. We're not panicking. We just need direction. The sun. There is no sun, Tyler cut in. Marcus looked up. The canopy above them had thickened, branches overlapping so tightly that only faint, dull light filtered through. It wasn't just shade. It was like the forest had closed in, sealing them off. That wasn't like this before, Lena said. No, Marcus admitted quietly. It wasn't. Knock. The sound exploded through the trees, so loud this time it made all three of them flinch. Jesus. Tyler spun toward it. Knock. A second response came from a different direction. Then another. Knock. 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 It wasn't one source anymore. It was surrounding them. Lena's breathing quickened. It's not random. No, Marcus said, dread pooling in his stomach. It's communication. Between what? Tyler demanded. No one answered. Another sound cut through the knocking. A low, heavy exhale. Not wind. Not an animal call. Breathing. Close. Too close. Lena slowly lifted the camera, pointing it toward a cluster of trees ahead. Tell me you see that. Marcus followed her gaze. Something moved. It wasn't fast. It didn't rush or lunge. It shifted slowly, deliberately, like it knew they were watching. A shape stepped partially into view. Tall. Too tall. Its shoulders were unnaturally wide, its outline blending with the shadows so perfectly that it was hard to tell where it ended and the forest began. Tyler let out a broken laugh. No, that's a trick. That's a shadow. The shape didn't move. Then its head tilted slightly, and the breathing got louder. Marcus felt something inside him snap. Run, he said. They didn't hesitate. Branches tore at their clothes as they sprinted blindly through the forest, crashing through undergrowth, slipping on roots. The camera shook violently in Lena's grip, capturing flashes of trees, darkness, and brief, horrifying glimpses of movement behind them. Don't stop, Tyler shouted, his voice cracking. I'm not stopping, Lena yelled back. Behind them, something moved, not crashing like they were, gliding, keeping pace. Knock. The sound came again, right behind them this time, followed by a second knock from somewhere ahead. It's hurting us, Marcus shouted. What? Tyler gasped. It's pushing us where it wants. As if to confirm it, a massive shape slammed into a tree to their right, the impact echoing like a gunshot. Lena screamed, veering left instinctively. Don't split up, Marcus yelled, grabbing her arm and pulling her back in line. They ran until their lungs burned, until their legs threatened to give out. Then Tyler stumbled. He hit the ground hard, the air leaving his lungs in a sharp gasp. Tyler! Lena skidded to a stop, turning back. Go! He wheezed, trying to push himself up. Just go. We're not leaving you. Marcus snapped, grabbing his arm and hauling him to his feet. A low growl rippled through the trees. Not loud, not aggressive, just close. Too close. Tyler froze. Did you hear? Something moved directly behind him. Marcus's eyes widened. Tyler, it was already too late. A massive arm, longer than it should have been, snatched Tyler backward into the trees with terrifying speed. He didn't even have time to scream. 1 second he was there. The next he was gone. The forest swallowed him whole. Tyler! Lena screamed, her voice breaking. Marcus grabbed her, pulling her away as she tried to run after him. No, you can't, he's... Another knock exploded nearby. Then another. Closer. Moo! Marcus shouted. They ran again, faster now, fueled by pure panic. Tyler! Lena sobbed as they pushed forward. We can't just leave him. He's gone, Marcus shouted, the words tearing out of him. Do you understand? It took him Marcus! The voice came again, right in front of them. They skidded to a halt. Aaron stood between the trees. Or at least, something that looked like him. He was just standing there. Still. Too still. Aaron! Lena whispered, hope flickering in her voice. Marcus didn't move. Something was wrong. Aaron's posture was stiff, unnatural, his arms hanging at his sides like they didn't quite belong to him. You came back, Lena said, stepping forward. Lena, don't, Marcus said sharply. She hesitated. Aaron's head tilted slowly, the movement jerky, almost mechanical. You came back, he repeated. The voice was off, not just in tone, but in rhythm, like it was trying to copy speech without fully understanding it. Marcus felt his stomach drop. "That's not him," he said quietly. Aaron's mouth stretched into something that might have been a smile. Then it opened. Too wide. Far too wide. "Help me," it said again. Lena stumbled back, horror flooding her face. "Oh my God!" The thing took a step forward. Its leg bent wrong, not like a human's. Marcus grabbed Lena's hand. "Run!" They turned and bolted in the opposite direction, not looking back, not stopping, not thinking. Behind them, the thing moved. Faster now, no longer pretending. Branches snapped violently as it charged through the forest, its footsteps heavy, deliberate. "Marcus, I can't." Lena gasped, her pace faltering. "You can," he shouted. "You have to." Something slammed into a tree beside them, splintering the wood. Lena screamed, nearly falling as Marcus dragged her forward. Then suddenly, they broke through the tree line. Sunlight hit them like a shock. They stumbled out onto the dirt road where they had started, collapsing onto the ground, gasping for air. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lena started laughing. A hysterical, broken sound. "We made it," she said, tears streaming down her face. "We actually made it." Marcus pushed himself up slowly, turning back toward the forest. The trees stood still, silent, like nothing had happened. Then, deep within the shadows, knock. He froze. "Marcus," Lena whispered. "Don't," he said quickly. "Don't look." But it was too late. Something stood just beyond the tree line, watching. It didn't step out. It didn't chase them. It just stood there, waiting. Marcus grabbed Lena's arm. "We need to go. Now." They didn't stop running until the forest was miles behind them. The footage they recovered later was incomplete, fragmented, filled with static and distorted audio. But it was enough. Enough to show the footprints, the movement in the trees, the moment Tyler disappeared. Authorities reviewed it and came to the same conclusion they always did. Animal attack. Case closed. Marcus never spoke publicly about what happened. Neither did Lena. They left the footage buried, locked away where no one would see it. But sometimes, late at night, Lena would replay the final seconds of audio. Not the screaming, not the running, the part before that. The part where Tyler's voice came through the microphone one last time after he had been taken. Soft, broken, wrong. "Help me." She stopped listening after she realized something. The voice wasn't calling for help. It was practicing. The forest is still there. People still go missing. And sometimes, if you listen closely to the stories, you'll notice something strange. The voices of the missing don't always stay gone.